Can I ask you about the money you received before the election? Not, I mean, you know, it was a $5 million donation from a
not donation, no gift.
Gift from
different
from Mr. Christopher Harbone. Well, it's being investigated by the parliamentary authorities because they're worrying that it was a donation which you should have declared.
It's not a donation.
Which it was money which should have been declared in the year before. That's being investigated. I just wondered, you know, I think rather a lot of our viewers will wonder, what's it actually like to receive £5 million as a gift?
Well, you know...
Because most people don't know what that feels like.
No, I know, and I've made and lost money in my business career over the years. I want to say this to you. I don't believe I've broken any rules of any kind at all, but it is, as you rightly say, under investigation.
What's it like to get a £5 million gift, though? How do you celebrate?
But I tell you what...
Is it like winning the lottery?
I tell you what, it is in a way. I tell you what you should ask me. Why is it I'm the only MP with zero public expenses? Zero. I haven't claimed a penny off the taxpayer for any personal expenses since I got elected. So there you go.
Was that because you had a £5 million gift?
I chose not to take the money.
But I would think, I mean, a £5 million gift, how many MPs could that pay for?
Oh, there are plenty of MPs that have got more than that.
Scores
and what did you spend it on?
I haven't.
You haven't spent a penny of the $5 million?
I've lived...
Big nest egg.
I've lived with more physical attacks on me than any other politician alive in Britain today. The state has consistently refused to provide me with any protection at all. Sadly, given how divisive politics is, I will need that for the rest of my days. I now don't need to worry about that.
So it's like a pension?
I will need to be looked after for the rest of my life. Having proper security is very expensive, and if I live to a ripe old age, I will need it.
So you're going to spend £5 million on security
I tell you what,
to pay for security until you retire?
I have, until I die is what I said.
Until you die? OK. So, and you've spent none of it yet, but there's a £5 million nest egg to pay for your security until you die?
This was given to me as a gift. It's unconditional. I can do with it as I wish, right? I can spend it on cars if I wish, but I'm not going to. There's a very specific purpose. And, you know, I've always been the outsider in politics. And the fact that for year after year, whilst I was being physically attacked, the state refused to provide me with any support or protection is quite extraordinary. I
just wonder whether, you know, for our viewers, I mean, we have a competition every day, but it's not £5 million, £150,000. People buy lottery tickets, but their chances of winning are very, very slim.
Well, you could say the same.
A gift of £5 million.
You could say the same about your salary compared to most of your viewers if you wanted to.
Well,
we could talk about that.
It's not.
Well, yeah, there you are. There you are. And people do win the lottery, and there you are. Look, I'm confident.
I just wondered whether it makes you just kind of whether it just sets you out as being rather different from the people you choose to represent. Who
you could argue that.
I mean,
you could argue
how many people
that.
in Clacton have ever had a £5 million gift?
Yeah. You know, and how many Labour voters live in £4 million houses in North London? You know, this argument could go on and on.
Do you think that if you watch the England game tonight in a pub, knowing everyone will know you've got $5 million in the bank, all the drinks will be on you?
No one cares. No one cares. You care, but no one cares.
Go on, Nigel, buy the pints.
Oh, they might have a lark about it, of course.
And would you buy them pints if you went in? Would it be all on Nigel tonight in the pub?
Well, they'd be very happy if it was, wouldn't they?
You're not that generous, though.
I've always been good at buying my round, I can assure you.
Right.
So let me ask you something about you. Would you be happy if the next Prime Minister of this country secretly banked a £5 million cheque from a billionaire whose business interests he was promoting?
Well, I would refute that entirely. I'm not promoting his business interests. I've been promoting...
I asked you in general as a principle. I hadn't come to you, but would you be happy if any candidate to be Prime Minister banked a secret cheque for £5 million?
I'm sorry, why is it secret?
Well, you didn't reveal it. It was revealed by the newspaper you'd taken £5 million.
Why should I?
Because we believe that people should govern in the national interest, not in the financial interests of themselves or their supporters.
I wasn't in politics.
You're telling me you weren't discussing becoming an MP?
I wasn't in politics.
I interviewed you about it, Mr Farage.
Yeah.
We did a 40-minute interview about whether you might become a member of Parliament.
And as you well know, it was a very, very difficult decision. I'd far from made my mind up. Look,
and you took £5 million from a billionaire who wants government and the Bank of England to change its policy.
No, I want government and the Bank of England to change their policy. I have done for years. I've been saying this consistently since 2019. There is a whole new world out there of AI, tech, crypto, you name it, and we're being left behind.
Just to explain to people, because we didn't get the chance, you have long argued for cryptocurrency. That's true. You think the Bank of England's making a mistake by coming up with the idea of effectively a public crypto coin, if you like, a sort of digital currency, an official one. But you're promoting something that would massively financially benefit a man who gave you £5 million. And you didn't think we deserved to know it.
No, hang on. Number one, I wasn't in politics. Number two, I don't believe there's anything in the rules that says I had to declare it. Number three, of course, it is being investigated by standards. So perhaps I'd better not say too much. And lastly, even if the UK, even if London became a centre for crypto trading, it would still be a minute part of the global market. And the fact that a marketplace would happen here would not influence the price directly in any way at all.
Let's be clear, there is an inquiry into whether you broke the rules.
I've just said that.
Yeah, no, there is. But also you have to declare it within a year of becoming a politician. It isn't just at the time you are a politician, and they'll assess whether they think...
If it's seen to be a donation linked directly to political activity.
Okay. Let's be clear why I'm asking it, and then I'll give you the chance to answer it. Okay, the reason I'm pushing this is because we know that why we have rules on taking money, particularly vast, unimaginable sums for most people in the country, £5 million into your own bank account. We have those rules to be sure that you're doing what is in our interest and not in your interest. So it's very clear, Mr. Farage, you've got lots of generous benefactors. You could give this money back.
Well, Boris Johnson got a gift from the same person.
Will you give this money back?
Will you give your salary to charity? How about that? How about that?
I'm not running to be Prime Minister,
If you
Mr.
give
Farage.
your entire salary to charity, then maybe I will. Well,
I'm
you
not
say
running
that,
to be Prime Minister.
You are the main interviewer for our national broadcasters.
Sure.
So you equally have a very responsible public position.
But one day maybe I'll come on your interview programme and you can interview me. But meanwhile, I'm interviewing you about you becoming Prime Minister and taking on the most important job. Will you give the money back?
What on earth has that got to do with you? If I did, it would be a purely private matter, as the money was in the first place.
Well, you could say no, but it sounds to me like you're saying you might give it back.
I don't think it's any of your business, frankly. And however, if the Standards Commissioner decides that it is, we'll talk about it again.
Understood. Now, the reason I say it's of interest, of course, is that you mocked the Prime Minister. He is still the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, and your party attacked him for taking money for free glasses and for suits. By one calculation, this is 1/271th of the amount of money you've taken. If Starmer shouldn't have taken money for glasses and suits, surely you should not take money.
He was leader of the opposition. I was a broadcaster on GB News. I think there is a difference.
Right, now, you're going to get cross with me, but I'm going to ask you about this. This £5 million that you took as a gift from the crypto millionaire Christopher Harborne, who lives in Thailand. You've described it variously as something that would pay for your security for years because of the huge physical threats that you do face, and I'm very aware of that. You've also talked about it being a reward for all your work on Brexit. Harborne has given, many millions more to the party, which has been declared. You did not declare this money because you said it was a private gift. You weren't in Parliament. You're now being investigated by the Privileges Committee. This is being thrown around on social media. It has been hugely damaging to you. Do you regret not declaring that money?
No.
Why not?
Because it's a purely private matter. It had nothing to do with politics whatsoever. I don't believe the rules in any way suggested that I should. So I didn't. And it wasn't a donation. It was a gift. It was an unconditional gift. All right? Now, as for his motives for doing that, well, I think he thought that maybe having given up a quarter of a century of my life, given up a good career in the City of London, faced all the abuse, perhaps he thought I deserved it. But that's irrelevant. It was an unconditional gift. So whether, and I made it very clear that I will need to have protection until the day I die, whenever that is, and none of us, of course, quite know the answer to that, and that would be its primary purpose. But frankly, I can do with the money as I wish. It is with the Standards Commissioner. I believe, having looked very carefully with lawyers, at the rule book, that I'm in the right.
Most people think of a gift as, I don't know, a bottle of champagne, a box of chocolates, not £5 million. Do you understand why most of us find it absolutely impossible to believe that someone who lives on the other side of the world, no matter how much he loves Brexit, and I don't think anyone loves it more than you and me, that they would go, you know what, Nige, love you, here's 5 million quid, no strings attached. Do you understand why that, frankly, is not believable?
I think you'll find you voted in Hampshire, so I think you'll find that's where home, actually. But whatever. Yeah, they may well do. And people inherit vast sums of money, and all sorts of things happen in life.
He's not your dad. You didn't inherit it.
People inherit money.
He's a crypto billionaire living on the other side of the planet, and he gave you... But again, you talked about it, you said this is an unconditional gift. Yeah. Is it a gift, a reward, or is it for your security? Because
no, it's an unconditional gift. I can spend it on Ferraris if I wish to. All right?
Are you spending it on Ferraris, or are you spending it on your security?
None of your business.
The thing is, when politicians get freebies, even if it's before they're politician, the rules are very clear that if it's before up to a year before you become elected as an MP, and I do accept that at the time that you were given this gift, you were not an MP and you were not planning to return at that time. I'd had conversations with people in Reform around that time. Nevertheless, the rules state that you should declare that money.
No,
but did you think that Keir Starmer should have declared his free suits from Lord Ali?
Well, they were political.
How is the suit political and £5 million, more money than most people would ever think of or ever earn or enjoy in their lives? How can that not be political?
By the way, this is a hugely successful British business.
Good for him.
All right, which is a good thing.
Yes, good for him.
Yeah. Julia, it's a private thing. It wasn't a political donation. If you read the rules carefully, I've done absolutely nothing wrong.
Then why is there a Standards and Privileges Committee investigation into it? Why has this done so much damage?
Because it has to you, and it has to the London media class, but it didn't.
No, I don't think that's fair. When I first heard, I don't think I am typical of that class, and I understand your security needs. I think you know now that it was a mistake not to declare that money.
No, I don't. And I spoke to hundreds of people in Makerfield, walking up and down streets over 4 days of campaigning, and only one person raised it as an issue. Only one person raised it as an issue.
Are you cooperating fully with the committee?
Of course, but there isn't much to say.
Wouldn't it be easier? Declare it, show the receipts for what you've spent it on for security. Round-the-clock security costs an absolute fortune, hundreds of thousands of pounds. Job done.
This is an unconditional gift, all right? And I was reported, as the local elections came up, for the chairman of the Conservative Party, they were terrified of what we might do. And of course, we did wipe out the Conservatives in Essex and places like that. They were terrified of it. They've tried to make it political. I don't believe it is. I believe it's purely personal.
I've got to ask you a question about this £5 million gift from this crypto billionaire. You know better than most politicians how LBC works. I'm getting comments as you and I speaking. This man needs to tell us what has he done with the £5 million. Get him to be truthful. Nigel Farage, please, what has happened to this £5 million gift?
With all due respect, what's it got to do with you?
Well, because it speaks to the position of you hold in office. Initially, we were told that it was because of your personal security and it would pay for that for the rest of your life. Then apparently it was some kind of reward for campaigning for Brexit. I am told we have two different stories. Which is the truth?
Well, I think you're contradicting yourself there, aren't you?
Well, if you tell me what happened with the £5 million, then we're solved.
It's an unconditional gift. I can spend it on Ferraris if I want. That'd be entirely up to me.
Why did you say it was for personal security then?
Because it was given as an unconditional gift, right? The understanding is, and you know very well, I've been physically more attacked over many years than any other politician.
I've been with you when you've been abused. I've seen that. But my listeners want to know, Mr. Farage, how much has been spent?
Nick, I can do with it as I want. I can do what I want with it. Well, I can put it on the horses.
Yes, you are under review, though, by the Parliamentary Standards Commissioner.
Well, and maybe we shouldn't be discussing it in that case. But what I will say to you is, I know that I will need protection until I die.
Right.
I've no idea how long that will be. None of us do. But I know that it's damned expensive. And I now don't have to worry or even think about that because repeatedly over the years, when I've asked for help from the state, I've been refused.
So it was a reward for personal security?
Sorry, Nick, you're confusing two things. One is the money comes in, the other is where it goes, right? I can do with it as I wish,
but I know myself what it's for.
How much has been spent?
I bought a cup of coffee this morning. Was that from that money or from what I earned from GB News? Or these are ridiculous questions.
But do you not, I remind you, you used to sit in this very chair. Listeners are concerned about the probity here.
Well, the probity would be if it was a political donation, right? If it's personal.
No, I know it was in a personal capacity. I want to make plain you were not an MP when funds were received.
Exactly.
Has it, as some newspapers have suggested, been used to purchase property?
No. I mean, and look, they can lie all they like. As I say, if I'm seen buying a round of drinks in a pub, they will say it came from that. It's irrelevant.
So just lastly, it's not bought a property, it's not done renovations on property. It will only ever be spent because of the campaigning you did, which resulted in the vote 10 years ago today. You have concerns over your personal security for the rest of your days.
I do, and as for the property thing, that was completed. That was agreed, and the money was checked well before. But look, Nick, but as I say, this is ridiculous because you can ask me this for the next 10 years. You know, as I say, you bought a round of drinks. Where did that money come from? It isn't like that, is it?
Well, no, but I mean, if you just came out and said, you're saying now that there's nothing to see here as regards purchase of houses, renovations of houses, we can finally put this to bed.
And even if there was, it would be irrelevant.
But you did have two stories.
No, there are not two stories. One is I was given the money unconditionally. I believe it was a reward for giving up a quarter of a century of my life, giving up a huge income in the City of London, putting up with lots of abuse. I believe that was the motive. Whether it was or not, that is that side of the equation. The other side of the equation is what I intend to do with it, and I've made that perfectly clear.
Do you think that the defeat in Makerfield was anything to do with your admission that you were given £5 million by a crypto billionaire? Sorry?
No one cares. Apart from the media, no one cares. No one cares at all.
The parliamentary standards watchdog care because they are investigating it.
Well, they are, you're right. There's been a complaint received, complaint from the Conservative Party chairman. They're investigating it. We'll see what they say. I'm absolutely convinced I've done nothing wrong in any way at all. I also know that since I was elected as an MP, I've taken zero in personal expenses. I'm very careful and very cautious about these things. I believe it to be a wholly private matter. The Standards Commissioner may take a different view.
You had already given an interview about the possibility of becoming an MP and then you accepted the gift. Is that right?
Yeah. And after that, I said I will not stand in this election. And I was pretty clear when a snap election was called that I wasn't going to do it. I did change my mind subsequently.
You said that £5 million was for lifelong security for you. You've also said it was a gift. Can you just clarify?
No. Let's be clear.
For?
Let's be clear. It's an unconditional gift. I can spend it on cars if I want to. It's entirely up to me, right? But there is a specific reason for this. I have been physically the most attacked and endangered politician in Britain for now well over a decade. At every stage during that time, when I've asked the state to help and support, most times they point blank refused. I know, because of the division in politics, that I will need protection until the day that I die. And that is my intention, that is what it's for, and it means, frankly, I can get on with my job and not worry about the long term.
So, Mr Farage, how much of that money have you spent?
Look, it's literally none of your business. If I've given it to charity, but the truth is, I haven't. I know what it's there for.
You haven't spent any of it?
It's none of your business. It's literally none of your... How much of your salary do you spend on beer, on petrol? It's none of your business.
I think it is the public's business to know...
No, it's not the public's business.
Well, it's being investigated by the Parliamentary Standards Committee, so it's somebody's business. You're saying you need security, a legitimate point. How much of that money have you spent on security so far?
I'm sorry. I know I'm not going to answer that deliberately, willfully.
Do you wish that you had declared this money at the time?
It is not your business at the BBC to put me in danger, therefore I will not answer that.
I would just like to clarify, do not make any mistake, we are not putting you in any danger at all.
If I answer that question you asked, so I won't.
So, but you have already said that you haven't spent it.
Fine. Leave it at that then.
Do you wish you declared it at the time?
No.
You know this is going to keep coming up again and again and again.
Well, that's it. And look, you can obsess about it, all right? That's fine. I spent, goodness knows, scores of hours in Makerfield, out talking to people, out knocking on doors, meeting people of all political opinions, and only one person raised it with me. So, you know, if you want to go on about it for the next 3 years, you go on about it. That's fine. I'm going to get on with my job.
I just wonder, you know, the people that you're talking to this morning, our viewers, the man and woman in the pub tonight watching England play football, I just wonder what they would think about someone who has got £5 million sitting in a bank account, and how they can relate to that.
I wonder how they'd relate to your salary. Many of them in the pub
My
tonight.
salary is on the public record.
Many of them watching this programme right now.